Welcome to Becoming Your Own BFF with host Randy Haveson. Let's agree that life gives us hurdles, but how often do we turn those hurdles into walls? Randy will give you strategies to break down the walls and clear the hurdles that are in your way. The goal of the show is to help you find happiness and joy at levels you didn't even know existed. Becoming Your Own BFF starts now.
Hello, everybody. Welcome or welcome back. And I am really excited to have you here this week. I hope you joined us last week for our talk with Nancy Rosenfeld. And I am about to bring her back for part two of, God, what an amazing person. This is one of the gifts for me. You know, I started doing this and I wanted to find really cool people to bring on and expose you to so that you could kind of broaden your horizons and everything going on with you. And because I kind of look at all of us speakers and podcasters and YouTube people and all, it's kind of like my definition is we're all boxes of cereal on the shelf. And it's up to you to decide which one you resonate with, which one you really like, and then you take that one off the shelf. So if it's like, yeah, Randy, you're okay, but I really like these guests you're bringing on, awesome. I'm glad I'm doing that. Or you might resonate with me or Vanessa or Nancy or, who knows. But I want to expose you to a number of different people and different experiences so you can find what really works for you on your journey as you're looking to improve your quality of life, your view of the universe, and to create more joy in your life and raise your self-esteem. That's what it's all about. That's what my book is about. That's what my coaching is about, to help you really find that purpose and that joy in your life. So I am now going to bring up Nancy Rosenfeld. There she is. Welcome back, Nancy. Thank you for being with us again. And I think last time we were talking about your amazing explorations in Bali and going to that temple. And, it's just so cool when life gives us those little gifts. One of them that I had last summer, I went with my wife and my daughter to London, and we were going to look at colleges for my daughter. She was thinking about going to college there. And the first night we were there, she's on her phone, of course, and she goes, "Oh, Dad, did you know the Rolling Stones are playing in Hyde Park on Saturday?" I was like, "What? No." I said, "Do you want to go?" She's like, "Yeah." So I asked my wife, "Do you want to go?" She said, "No, I'll go shopping." So I jumped online and I bought 2 tickets and I took my daughter to see the Rolling Stones in Hyde Park, London. Got to hear Mick Jagger say, "Hello, London." It was the experience of a lifetime. So when you step into that unknown and you do these things that are outside your comfort zone, the universe just presents all these amazing gifts. So I'm so thrilled for you. I'm so happy for you. I don't even really know you, but I'm so happy for you and the journey that you're on. So is there more you wanted to share about Bali, or because I have so many other things I want to talk to you about?
No, I think we covered a good amount about Bali. A great experience.
I want to know, here you are in San Diego, not knowing anybody and creating community there and doing what you're doing there. And then all of a sudden you're like, no, I think we're going to Hawaii. How did that happen?
So I moved to San Diego from Florida, and that was a huge move. I had never lived on the West Coast in 2011, and it worked. I loved San Diego. It was the vibe I wanted, the open-minded community, healthy, wonderful offerings. And after about 4 or 5 years, I was driving my car and going over a bridge, and I said to myself, so this is temporary, right? This is temporary. There's something more. And my inner voice said, no, this is it. This is real. This is what is. And how do you like it? And it came over to me. I don't want this to be it. I want something different. I want something more. And so then I spent a couple of years exploring what is it that I want. And what happened was in San Diego, I was kind of done with the Southern California life. I had loved it at first, but I was ready for something not quite as busy and crowded, and decided that my career had been very successful. I was a consultant to leadership teams and did strategic planning, and decided that I was going to leave my career early and travel. And I gave myself, I have a financial background. So I did all the financial analysis because I'm very responsible that way. I'm not impulsive.
Yeah.
And did a risk analysis. I did more scenarios than you would ever want, but that's just me. And decided that I would travel for an unknown amount of time, and I would end up living wherever I ended up wanting to live.
Oh, fun.
And I would get rid of most of my stuff, store valuables, and I needed someone to keep my dog and my car. And so this was about a year of thinking about it, processing it, and things, synchronicity started falling into place. And I ended up writing a book about it called I Am Doing This 2 years after I did it. But what happened was I left San Diego on August 1st, 2018, and started traveling, and ended up, after seeing family on the mainland, ended up going to Hawaii. I had planned to stay for 2 months. I ended up staying longer and loved it. And after about 3 weeks in Hawaii, I thought, I could live here, but it didn't register. It was just, it was a seed. A seed was planted. Then I continued. I ended up traveling for 8 consecutive months.
Wow. Where'd you go?
And I ended up Hawaii and New Zealand and Tasmania and the mainland. And then it happened suddenly. I was back in Hawaii for a few days before I was going to end the travel overseas. And said, now what? I have to go back and get my dog. Now what? And things just started falling into place, one after another. Wow. And it ended up within 10 days, after traveling for 8 months, within 10 days, I was on a mission to get my storage cleaned out, to get my dog ready, to get the car ready, and ship things to Hawaii.
Wow.
And it was, for me, people say, oh, that takes so much courage. You're so brave. But I don't look at it that way. For me, I call it a calculated risk. Because my mind is like, all right, I want this. How can it happen? I don't know how it's going to happen, but then it comes back to, I trust that it'll happen. I had just had an experiment of traveling for 8 months to learn to trust that everything was going to work out. And now I was moving, and I didn't have a place to live in a market that was very difficult. And I had a dog, which makes it more difficult. And I had to give the airline 30 days notice, and the Department of Agriculture in Hawaii, that I'm coming with the dog within 30 days. That's the most rigorous part. And
it's not easy bringing a dog to Hawaii.
No. And I didn't have a place to live, but I had to go ahead and get a plane ticket. And so I just had to trust. I said, if it worked out for me for 8 months, this is going to, worst case, I find an Airbnb. And anyway, 10 days before I arrived, I found something on Facebook, and where it was a place to live, and they said must love dogs. So I knew that was the place for me.
Yeah.
So after being here during my travels, I ended up moving, and that was over 5 years ago.
Wow.
And I wake up grateful every day.
How do you not? Yeah. Yeah. And
And I was
how far are you from the beach?
about half a mile.
Oh,
About half a mile. And I have to say that one thing that you might want to do is envision for yourself what it looks like and what it feels like, whatever it is that you're desiring, a job or a place to live or a relationship, whatever. And so for me, when I envisioned where I wanted to live, I didn't know where it was, but I knew that I was going to be walking through my yard and it was lush green. Just trees were touching me, and it was just lush green, and there was peacefulness and natural beauty, and that's where I live. That's what I wake up to. I look out. I don't use air conditioning. Everybody just leaves their windows open.
Oh yeah.
Every morning I wake up and the palm trees I wave to them because I was like, oh, they're dancing for me, and
they're waving back. Yeah.
Waving back.
Oh, so cool. So now how did you go from being a corporate executive to an author and a speaker? And now you have 7 books, right?
6 books.
6 books. Okay. And you just released one. I want to talk about that, but how about the journey of being an artist and an author? I mean, are the pieces behind you, are those your artwork?
Yes.
Awesome. Nice.
Yes. I'll have to show you that one over there. Okay. So anyway, I was a consultant and to leadership teams, and I would speak to gain visibility for my consulting practice. And I would write articles in journals. And my first book was actually a book on leadership. It was called Leaders Who Win, Leaders Who Lose, The Fly on the Wall Tells All.
Wow.
And I was the fly on the wall telling all about my clients. And how that happened was a real publisher contacted me, read an article that I had written, and asked me to write a book about what I had seen in boardrooms. And I knew that was a gift because many people wanted to be published. That doesn't
happen often.
It does not. So I did it. And because I wanted the experience of getting published, and it gave me some credibility. And then I was done. I was like, well, I'm not writing any more books because I'd rather speak. And then the next year, I started speaking about this sabbatical that I had taken to rest up that changed my life. And the name of that book is A Left Brain Thinker on a Right Brain Journey. How that came, I was speaking at a conference, a business conference. I didn't know if anyone would come into the room because the topic was design your personal transformation. It was standing room only. It was all these people in suits, and they were sitting on the floor out the room wanting to hear what I would say. And I was so overwhelmed by the response. Someone said, you need to write a book about what you did during the sabbatical. So that's where that book came from.
Wow.
And then
you know what? That goes to show that people who are in that corporate mentality are craving this transformation and personal power and finding joy. They really want it. It's like, but they don't know how to get it. When it's right in front of them, they can step in by doing something like writing a book, reading a book, or listening to. That seems to be more difficult. But the hope is, like you said earlier, take baby steps on this process. And that's how you make the big change, by doing the little changes.
Exactly. And one thing that happened with that first audience, I'm a facilitator of leadership teams, and I can usually read people. In that room, there was, let's say, 200 or 300 people with straight faces, and I didn't know how they were taking my story of transformation. And I found out later they were processing, if she can do it, this structured financial type, and be so happy and free, maybe I can do it too. They were processing it. And that's how the book helped. And I did a lot of speaking with that book in that process. And
That's
then
awesome.
the later books, one is called Finding Joy Amidst the Chaos.
Nice.
And that's about identifying deep roots within yourself that bring you calm no matter what's going on, and how to incorporate that into your everyday life.
Yeah.
And just, it's like having it in a blueprint in your back pocket for no matter what's going on in my life, I can reach for these things and they will bring me calm.
Because they're always there.
They're always there.
You're right. Oh, what's the name of that book again? Everybody watching this, listening to this, buy that book.
It's a really short book.
Nice.
It's a brief work. It's called Finding Joy Amidst the Chaos. And it's kind of like a guidebook with steps for you to do it for yourself. The next book, during my process of transformation, I was introduced to some Native American wisdom. It was a map, a wisdom map that they would use like during Vision Quest, and it was the Navajo tribe. And this map was gifted to me and explained to me, and it explains the path to your highest potential by moving through every step of the map. It's also a psychological journey, and it was so relevant, even though it's eons ancient, it's relevant today. And I started using it with clients, with business groups, and with personal retreats, helping people identify where they are on the map and what is their next step. And it's always a choice.
Always, yes.
I can tell you on the map what's the next step, but it's your choice if you're going to take that step.
Right.
The name of that book is A Path to Higher Self. Ancient Tribal Wisdom Shows the Way.
Wow. Okay, I think that's the one I'm going to start with.
I love that map. And it will explain to you previous transformations, and then when you're stuck, it's like, okay, I have to take the leap. I have to trust. I have to try. And it's just very relevant.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? Another point that I want to bring, it's like, I'm really excited about this. I've been on my journey and my path for almost 40 years now. We're never done. There's always more to learn, always more to grow, never done. And that's the beautiful part about this growth process. So no matter where you are, you can always go further. You're never stuck unless, like you said, you choose to be stuck. You choose to be stagnant. But if you can choose to be stagnant, you can choose to not be stagnant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I even use if I learned to be this way and it's not working for me, then I'm going to learn to undo it.
Yeah.
So that I can be on a better path. And you're so right. What I found when I speak on this ancient map, and at the end, I'll ask, so what do you think's next? Something new is going to happen in your life that's going to send you right back to the beginning of that map.
Yeah.
But the second time and the third time you go through it, you go with awareness that I'm going to be okay.
Yeah. Right.
So the trust.
I kind of view it like when you look at those ant farms that we used to have, when they first build the trail, it's very difficult to do. But when they go back to the beginning, it's easier because they've already dug out the tunnel. So it kind of works that way.
Very true.
Yeah.
And then the next book I already spoke about, I Am Doing This. That's the whole letting go and traveling. That's also a travel memoir, details of how I felt, what I did on almost every day of the trip. But it also talks about, it's very personal in that it talks about some discoveries during meditation. It talks about letting go when my father passed, and then preparing for this travel, and what happened at the end when I ended up moving. So it's called I Am Doing This, a travel journey inspires a new life. And then the book that was just recently released.
Yeah, what's this one?
So this is totally different. This is a biography, a collaboration of my father's life escaping from Lithuania in 1939, and the emotional journey, the miraculous protection of synchronicity that got him out. Of course, his family did not survive. He wrote a manuscript and hid this from his 4 daughters until we were adults. So none of us knew. We knew he was from Lithuania, but we didn't know any more of his story.
Wow.
It was too painful for him. And he didn't think we were ready for it. So in the late 1980s, he gave us the manuscript, and it was shocking, to say the least. But it was also lovely, in that it talked about the old world life of how he lived and his family and my family.
Wow.
So this book is called 50 Cents for a Life, a true story of surviving by synchronicity.
Wow. And what a beautiful way to honor him too.
Thank you. Thank you. It's been quite a journey for me, because I could not work on the book until I was ready. And I'll share what made me feel ready was I could not write the book from a feeling of burden or obligation or responsibility. That was too heavy, because his story is not one of that a lot have. He wasn't in a concentration camp. He escaped.
Right.
Family didn't, but he did. And so it's about his life of escaping and then searching for the rest of his life for any sign or path of his town or friends or family, and how he coped. And he learned to paint, and his artistry became his healing.
Wow.
And his lifelong goal to meet someone from his village, and the synchronicity of him. The first time he ever shared his story with the public was in Washington, D.C. at the U.S. Holocaust Museum.
Wow.
The most prestigious place. Distinguished place. And so his life was just one miracle after another. And I had some spiritual experiences, if that's what you want to call it, about how to deal with it. And this is at the end of the book. But one experience was I had an energetic release that my ancestors came to me and they told me to stand up and live, because they were getting so much joy out of watching my life, and that I didn't have to carry their burden. They already lived it, and they just wanted me to authentically live my life.
Wow.
And that was like, boom, the key shifted.
Yep.
And I thought, what a great purpose I have. Just enjoy life. And I'm going to dang well live my purpose, because it's not just helping me. It's helping my ancestors, and it's helping others.
Yeah, you're going to inspire others to find their story. And
so writing
Nancy, you are such a gift.
Oh, thank you.
Do you have any of your father's artwork?
Oh, I can take you on a journey in my living room.
I think at some point in the future, we're gonna have more conversations, because I could talk to you like for hours.
Thank you. And this book is that last book about my father. It's real important, because it inspires perseverance to continue on,
Yep.
even when paths are non-existent. Just
Absolutely.
believe that there's something over the horizon that you can't even see that's going to help you on your way. Just hold on, hold on.
Yeah.
And that's what his story was about. He
Mhm.
was stubborn and strong-willed, but he held on. And
Yeah.
that was important.
Wow. Okay, I want to read that one too.
I hope you
Okay,
do.
unfortunately, we're out of time again. But I'm going to have you on again. Absolutely. And one of the other things I want to propose, and I'm going to start manifesting this, I would love to do a retreat with you sometime.
Okay.
I think that would be amazing and transformational. So
Okay,
I'm going to start.
you just planted a seed.
I know. Yeah. And let's watch how it grows. It's pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah.
Right.
So I know your website is a little extensive. We're going to put it on the YouTube site, but for people doing the podcast, tell us again what your website is so people can find you.
Sure. So it's all one word. It's long. I am doing this, Nancy Rosenfeld. I'll say it again. I am doing this, Nancy Rosenfeld .weebly, WEEBLY.com.
Awesome. Yeah. And what you're doing is really important. And I'm glad, I feel honored that I get to help get the message out. Because what you're doing is awesome. And this is what I do this because I want more people to be able to find their joy and to live their true path and to not feel like they're stuck. You know, I run into people like, yeah, this is a job, but you know, I'm just stuck in this job and I don't know but you don't have to be stuck. It's a choice.
Exactly.
So,
I can't tell you how many people have left their jobs after reading my books.
yeah, wonderful. Awesome. And you know what? But if they're happy and feeling joy being a CFO, absolutely continue being a CFO. Absolutely. Do what
Exactly.
helps you to feel joy.
Right.
Yeah.
Thank
Well,
you
Nancy,
very much.
oh, thank you. I love this and we will do it again. And thank you everybody for joining us here. I hope you got something out of this. I know I did. So I will see you again next week. And until then, take those little steps to finding your joy and do whatever it is that is going to bring you more happiness and build self-esteem. So thank you for tuning in. Thank you, Nancy. And we will talk to you again. All right.
Thank
Take
you.
care.
You've been listening to Becoming Your Own BFF with your host, Randy Haveson. Tune in every Friday at 1:30 Pacific on transformationtalkradio.com for more tools to stop being your own worst bully and start becoming your own best friend. Learn essential skills to boost self-esteem and overcome the devastating effects of ego. By focusing on physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual well-being, you can start listening to your best friend voice rather than your inner bully voice. For more information, visit randyhaveson.com.